Once again, it's on. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Paul. Once again, on behalf of the Black Comic Lords, we're going to do another one of our continuing series with Black comic creators, where we interview Black comic creators that are making major moves and doing big things. We have a really special one today, one I've been looking forward to for a minute. A local creator here in the Orlando, Florida area, Ajayi, who is the writer and creator of a book called O Kingdom Come. You know, there comes a time where you have certain creations that are not just entertainment, but they genuinely move the needle. And this is one of those books. This is one of those books that goes beyond simple whiz bang pow entertainment that we normally have in our superhero comics, but does something of substance, something that for lack of a better term, is edutainment. That it means something. It's substantive. I can't speak enough about how good and important this book is. Let's start with its creator, Mr. Ajayi, who's a father, computer engineer, storyteller. He was born in Miami. Shout out to the 305. Y'all know how I do. But he grew up in Lagos, Nigeria, returning back to Florida to get his degree. And his upbringing gave him a unique perspective on how culture influenced perspectives on events, and he likes to explore that in his writing. So with that, I'd like to introduce Mr. Ajayi.
Hey, Paul, thanks for having me.
Thanks for having you. Man, come on. I feel blessed to be in your presence, brother. This is a truly significant book that you wrote.
I appreciate it.
You're very humble.
Thank you.
One of the first things I note when I pull out this book, I know it's kind of hard to see here, but the quality of the production, the cardstock of the book, the pages, the quality of the paper, the coloring is just phenomenal.
Yeah. They see that on a man.
It just who published this book?
That would be with Tell Our Own Tales. So it's my publishing house.
So you own your own publishing house?
Correct.
Well, you did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
And you need to let people know on a quiet as it kept on the side. If there's any other independent artist out there and you're looking for some place to publish, you might want to go to, what is it called again?
Tell Our Own Tales.
Tell Our Own Tales, because this is high quality production right off the rip. That was the first thing. As soon as I opened the package, the first thing I noticed is oh, this feels nice. This looks nice.
Appreciate that.
Well done.
Thank you, sir.
As good, if not better, than anything you can see from any mainstream book. Just facts.
Thank you.
I don't even know where to start, man. This book is dense. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in it. I honestly had to read it twice. But let's start with the general overview. What is this story about? What is O Kingdom Come? So
O Kingdom Come covers the downfall of one of the first monarchies, which was the Kingdom of Nubia, the Nubian Empire. It was very fast, so approaching what could have happened, the events that could have led up to it, really made it interesting, and it's kind of debated on what exactly happened, so that left a lot of room to play with the fiction of it.
So this is definitely a fictional tale, but it's based on true events.
Correct. That's correct. Right. So the Nubian Empire was the first monarch in recorded history, and the fall was very fast. It was very, very quick. So they always say that whatever happened must have been somewhat cataclysmic in a sense, that would have caused it to fall so quickly.
What was the Nubian Empire?
Man, that was the first monarchy, the epitome of African civilization. It's what every other monarchy was basically fed off of on what a monarch should look like.
Right.
The current a lot of current tribes still base their stuff off the Nubians. Uh, Bigger, even the Europeans, a lot of it's based off the Nubian architecture and a lot of the Nubian cultures that they follow. They turned it into religions. They turned it into uh, different rites and rituals that they follow now. It all came from the Nubian Empire.
You know, my favorite comic book character is Black Panther. And
Yeah,
I don't mean that from, you know, I saw the movie and I became a Black Panther fan. Like I've been reading Black Panther for
for a while.
30 years.
Wow.
And we talk about Wakanda and the allure of the idea of Wakanda for people from the diaspora,
Hmm.
because it sort of represents this ideal of how we visualize what could have been.
Yeah.
But for the intervention, or interruption of the transatlantic slave trade. But that's what the story sort of represents, right? It
Yeah.
represents what happened, what we were before the transatlantic slave trade, what we were
Exactly.
before the concepts of what we define as race even existed.
Yes.
Um, and when you talk about, well, you know, Wakanda is so advanced and it's so the civilization, all the things that they were able to accomplish, and the influence that that society had, that's what Nubia was,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Um, you know, the ancient library at Timbuktu, which had people from all over the world going to
Coming
that
to study.
library to learn um, science and art, and more importantly, oceanography,
Hmm.
um, all in Timbuktu.
Yeah.
People use that term and not realize that was an ancient library that was well respected throughout the world.
Throughout the world. Yep. It's in
Um,
different texts from different philosophers.
yeah, yeah, and the Nubian Empire spanned all the way out what we know as Egypt. So you tell us the significance of what all this is.
Of course. So it being the first, Nubia encompassed everything that the Nile went through. Um, a lot of people get caught up on borders and everything, but kind of even currently with tribes, they consider just where your people stop, where your version of people stop is where your land stops. So the Nubia wouldn't. There was no lines that were drawn and said, "Oh, this is the where Nubia ends." It was all up all the way. It was all Nubia. They knew nothing else. So everyone just wanted to be at this point of excellence. All the other surrounding tribes, that sometimes they try and lay siege on it to get in, and uh, well, wars would happen, and that's basically what I cover through the book.
All right. So, let's jump to this.
Ooh.
Let's start with. Let me back up a second. The name "O Kingdom Come." Where does that come from?
Um, I was on the fence about the title. I know Alex Ross had that very epic run for Kingdom Come. Even when I was creating it, they were like, "Oh, that's gonna be Kingdom Come," and I had read Kingdom Come, and I'm like, you know what? It's not as thematic to the events of Kingdom Come. That I was like, you know what? I need this title, especially when I'm making something. I need a title that fits, and I want to talk about the first monarchy and how it felt. Like there's nothing how biblical the phrase is. There's nothing that would fit better. So I'm like, okay, so how do I do it? And "O Kingdom Come" fit the best. I'm talking about the original kingdom, the symbolism of renewal with the O. It fit too perfectly. I had to do it. I had to
When we
take the
talk
title.
about symbolism as well, what is this? That's the logo that you have there, the circle with the various moons around it.
Mhm.
What does that symbolize?
That's how a lot of the times they told time. Back then was through the moon. Where it was, how far up I learned that while writing the book. How far up in the sky it is was how they were to tell time at the time. It represents renewal and some other things that are definitely spoiled territory for book 2 and 3.
A frustrated fan wants to know how can he get this book?
It's on okingdomcome.com. It's like
Very
a
simple.
6 issues equivalent.
And we're going to have the link in the description of this video for anyone who's interested in buying this book. See, Ouroboros likes your name.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, so I want you to give us a break. One of the opening chapters here, one of the opening quotes talks about, and I see it in all of your advertisements as well, the concept that man fears God, but more importantly, God fears what man becomes. Can you tell me what that means?
I like the dichotomy because it's more of man fears the unknown. There's a fear of the sense of the unknown, but the unknown in this presence, God or the gods, they already know what's going to happen, and they're afraid of that. So I like the dichotomy that you can be afraid of something that you don't know, and the person that you're afraid of is afraid of what you can end up doing. And it fit very well with the rest of the theme of the book.
Yeah, I'm reminded of that song by Jay-Z and Kanye West, "No Church No Wild," right?
Yep.
What's
What's a
a
god to a king?
what's a how does it start? It starts.
What's a man to a king?
What's a mob? What's a man to a mob? What's a mob to a king? What's a king to a god? And what's a god to a non-believer who doesn't believe in anything?
Yep. Yeah.
Right?
That's awesome. Yeah, that's true. I never thought of that.
What is a god's power except the worship of his worshipers?
Of his worshipers. Yep.
And if a god doesn't have worshipers, they have no power.
They have no power.
And that's something to be feared, because then man is on earth without any allegiance to a god.
That's right.
So I thought that was kind of deep.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. So, we talked about the production value. Let's talk about the art just real quick. You just turn the page and this splash just hits you. Can you tell us about the artist that you have on this book?
Absolutely. Oh man. The artist part was probably the most difficult part. Anyone creating comics knows that. Working with an artist that was trying to emulate Conan the Barbarian. I think it's Gregory France. And when I was telling him the ambition of where I was going with the book, he knew it was too time consuming. So he backed out. So I have the book and I'm like, oh man, what I'm going to do? And my current artist, Clovis Topola, messages me out of nowhere. He said he saw some of my concept art, that he really wants to work on this book. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know about this. And I send him a test concept and he sends me a page and it was amazing. He got exactly what I was trying to do. He understands the adoration I was trying to grab, the human emotion, vulnerability. He captures it so well. And then, so I was hooked as soon as he started drawing. And then for the colorist, someone made a post from Lagos, Nigeria, my tribesman, Adesida. I was like, I don't know. And he colored a page for me and it was game over. I didn't need to look any further. They both did phenomenal work. They really took it personal.
This artwork is nothing short of spectacular.
Thank you.
Much of the book seems to take place at night.
Yes, this is a siege on Nubia.
Because okay, so the course, the events of the story basically take place in a course of 1 or 2 days.
One night. So they march, and then they reach the walls of Nubia that same night.
Okay.
So the course of this part, outside of the flashback that happens, it's going to be at night. Yep.
Um, wow, it's really remarkable. Thematically, for those who have not read this book yet, and I encourage each and every one of you to read this book. Um, Thematically, if I were to say what would it remind you of that you might in popular culture, I would say Game of Thrones mixed with
Mm,
one of the things you mentioned, Conan the Barbarian
hmm.
mixed with Shaka Zulu.
I love that.
If you
I love
took
that.
all of those, threw them in a blender, that's kind of what you're getting with O Kingdom Come.
I love that.
Um, you're getting a lot of the intrigue and world building that you have with Game of Thrones. You have the action, and you have some of the mysticism of Conan, the adventure of Conan the Barbarian, and then you have the historical backdrop and the epic grand scale of that Shaka Zulu miniseries from the 80s.
Yeah,
That's this book.
I appreciate that.
If you're looking for something like that, this is your book. This is a dope book, everyone. I can't. You guys know me. I'm not usually at a loss for words, but I can tell you this book kind of blew me away. It reminds me of the feeling I had after I read Imperium. That was a really dope book. Like that's the level of depth that this book has.
Thank you, boss.
Um, Black Man Podcast says, "So proud of you, homie. I remember when you was talking about
That's
it.
my guy.
You was here. Good
Number one
job,
fan
man.
right
Good
there.
job."
Appreciate you.
Dion says, "Zari at the ready."
Yes, sir.
So let's that's a good point. Let's get into the characters of
Okay.
this story. We have the people called the Zari.
Yeah,
Can you explain to us who they are?
of course. So Zari represent this kingdom that's kind of been down on their luck for a few decades. They're kind of wasting away. But the people are, they're trying to get by. It represents a lot of kingdoms that were doing a lot better, and just circumstances happened, and they're trying to survive. Um, Zari is the Hausa word for greed. So I want to explore a lot of what these cardinal sins would mean to someone, because in our culture we have a lot of we assume a tribe is a certain way. We'll say, oh, those people are stingy. Those people are they're so evil. Those people are they're so lustful. So I wanted to explore that in the writing with these different tribes. Um, I made I made the tribes so I wouldn't demonize real tribes, which is a thing that happens a lot because a lot of these tribes still exist. So I use this tribe, but you'll notice some identities that share with tribes that currently exist.
So the
Um,
Zari is a fictional tribe, but
it
is
is.
kind
It
of it
sounds
is
real, but it's
but,
fictional.
but it's an amalgam of different tribes that you
Of
threw
tribes
together.
that share that kind of identity.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go through some. Here's a quote that I really thought was important that I noted. What you do for yourself in large measure depends on what you think of yourself. So if you think that you have no worthy history, that you come from nothing, you will tend to act that out. But if you think that you come from greatness, you will aim for the stars. It's a quote from Dr. Runoko Rashidi.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
That's a deep quote.
Yeah.
That goes to something I personally have a belief in. My personal philosophy for us as a people of the diaspora
Yeah.
is having a knowledge of self, a knowledge of our history is critical to our own inner workings of our mind and
100%.
how we perceive ourselves historically um, helps us to place ourselves in this world and help us to identify ourselves and have a sense of worth and recognition of what we're
Yeah.
able to accomplish. If you see where we've been, you know that we can accomplish literally anything, which is what I try to import to my own daughter too, is giving
Yeah.
her knowledge of this stuff and let her know that we come from greatness, not just the the last 200 years, starting with the history books of, there were these people that were enslaved. There's
Yeah,
so much more to who we are and who she is. So it's critically important that we have stories like this.
I appreciate that. Yeah, Dr. Renoko is one of the researchers I reached out to
Mhm.
when I first started the book. Picked up the phone. His phone number was just online, and he picks it up. It didn't go to voicemail. It didn't go to an assistant. He just picks it up. Oh, Dr. Renoko. I'm like picked up the phone. What's going on here? And just gives you the information. Doesn't make you, oh, call me back another time. He was so happy to give it, and he was so excited about the book. I wish you could have seen it finished before he passed away. But
One of the things that you did is you gave a shout out to all these people that influenced you or helped you in the book. And
yeah,
one of the people that the names that immediately struck out to me is Dr. John Henrik Clark, who's
yes.
like one of my personal heroes.
Oh yeah.
I had an uncle who used to always, because I lived here in Florida for most of my life,
Okay.
and which is like a virtual wasteland when I was younger, when it came to getting information about ourselves.
Of course.
But he would literally like mail me VHS tapes of John Henrik Clark
Wow.
lectures and Leonard Jeffrey, Dr. Leonard Jeffrey lectures and video recordings of Like It Is with Gil Noble. Most people don't know what I'm talking about, but suffice it to say, that's where a lot of my interest of fostering an interest in African history and culture came.
Amazing.
John Henrik Clark is a legend.
Incredible. Yeah. I remember one of his debates. They're like, "Oh, it's from." I forgot what they were saying was the origin of something. He said it's from the Middle East, and he was like, "Middle from where?"
Yes, yes, that's one of his most famous lectures. Yeah,
Middle from where? I loved
middle
it. It
from
was great.
where? Just hearing him just blows your mind and changes your perspective on it. For any of
Exactly.
you out there, I highly encourage you go on YouTube. Not
Mm-hmm.
right now, watch us. But after we're done, look up Dr. John Henrik Clark of Hunter
Incredible
College
guy.
and watch his videos. You will
Yeah,
not
it
be
was awesome.
disappointed. That's one of the most brilliant men who ever lived. Anyway, moving on. I want you to go through these characters
Of course.
because you have a rich cast of characters. Let's start with the seer.
The seer. All right. So the seer comes from Tamaland. Um, that's another one of the kingdoms. Not so much tussling for power, just trying to be in the right position to take advantage. Um, the seer, she's clairvoyant, so she has visions, and she's been a captive of Zari for some time now. And she's just kind of been whining and dining, and oh, come back another time. That oh yeah, I'll have something for you. And we start the book at where the king's kind of had enough of her just saying like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, I'll find something for you. And that's where the book starts. The first few pages, the first chapter, is her vision of what's going to happen later in the book.
It's interesting. It brings up this other point. Um, Oftentimes, it's talked about the fact that when we talk about slavery and enslavement of people, and one of the talking points certain people make is, well, Africans enslaved people too. And we had this movie, um,
Woman King.
The Woman King, which talks about in Africans enslaving other Africans. But what people fail to realize in that argument is that unlike the transatlantic slave trade, um, slavery in Africa was didn't involve you wiping out your identity.
Nope.
Like you could become enslaved because you were captured in battle.
Yeah.
Then you could join that tribe
Correct.
and you could rise to a high position within the tribe. You just become
Absolutely.
assimilated in that new tribe.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with, well, you're not allowed to be educated.
No.
You don't have to change your name. You don't have to be to change your gods. It's not like that. It's not like what
No.
happened to all of us. It's a completely different system. It's called slavery, but it's a completely different system.
Yeah. I always tried. especially when the Woman King was coming out, there was a lot of discussions around that. And I said that you don't understand that they didn't even fathom the thought that they would be treated inhumanely like that,
Right.
because the version of servitude that's practiced in Africa is more of what you mentioned, that you can rise, you can buy yourself out of, you can buy your freedom, you can rise to a rank, you can join the military, maybe be used on the farm, until there was never an aspect that you were not human. They were just, you're from an enemy tribe and you got captured. Now you're with us.
Right. Right.
Um,
To compare the slavery that occurred in Africa to the slavery that occurred from the transatlantic slave trade, it's like mixing apples and oranges. Two
yeah,
completely different
they are very different.
mechanisms. Very different.
Correct. Yeah.
All right. So let's go to our next character. High Ruler Alfonso.
Alfonso.
This dude was over the top. I mean, he's always giving speeches. I mean, just his name alone, High Ruler Alfonso. It's like a pimp named Slickback. You got to say the whole thing.
There's a lot of people that are just like that. I love it.
He's wearing purple because the royalty is wearing the purple. He every time he talks, it's a speech.
Yeah, he likes the attention.
Yeah, he's like a classic politician.
Bingo.
Arrogant, but able to inspire. A bit of a slickster, a bit of a hustler.
Yeah.
Tell us more about High Ruler Alfonso.
High Ruler Alfonso. So he's not the blood ruler of Zari. He just, tribe is down on its luck. I got money. We can make some things happen. And he slid in and found an opportunity to slide himself into one of the more formidable tribes, or kingdoms, and took over the Zari kingdom. He has a goal. He feels like a lot of African kings, they feel everything belongs to them. Everything within sight belongs to them. And he embodies that aspect of African kings fully, from the beginning all the way to the end. He has a goal. He knows he has a few tricks up his sleeve. But he's probably one of my favorite characters. I just love the pageantry. I'm doing a motion that you'll see, and the guy that's voicing him is phenomenal. I'm like, oh, this is incredible. So that even helped me like write a lot of his dialogue, because he loves the pageantry. He loves attention, all eyes on me. I love that guy.
Now you said the guy who's voicing him. So
mm-hmm. There is a voice actor.
There's a production that you've done
yes.
on this.
Correct.
And we're going to get a little bit more into that a little bit later after we go over these characters.
Absolutely, yeah.
So High Ruler Alfonso talks a lot, but he doesn't personally carry a big stick.
No.
Let's introduce the fans to the big stick. High Ruler Alfonso's big stick. Yeah. Who's Commander Hadaya?
Commander Hadaya is the rightful king of Zari. He's stands at the right hand of Alfonso for now. He also has his own motives to bring honor back to his people. He has a long lineage of kings, some that you might see from some other flashback that you'll see that another king that might be a relative of his. But I love the crown. That was something that really stuck out when we were making. I really wanted a Nubian crown because a lot of people don't see that. Instead, they say, "What was it to say?" That's Jonathan Majors.
Look, we were talking off screen, and you cannot tell me that Commander Hadaya. Look at this picture. You gonna tell me that's not Jonathan Majors?
That's why it's And I was talking to the artist about this. It's so important to have images like this because I think the problem is more we haven't seen enough men of these features with a crown on their head.
That sounds good and everything, dude. But you're going to be hearing from Jonathan Majors' lawyers.
I heard John
at
Boyega
some
too.
point.
When we were pushing, someone said John
Yeah,
Boyega. Someone
you
said
just
Jonathan Majors. I'm like,
you pulled what Marvel did with Samuel L. Jackson with Nick Fury. My brother's going to be expecting a check, or he's
oh
going to be
man, this was
expecting a
before.
role
We'll
if
see.
this gets made
This
into
was.
a film. I'm
Hey,
just pointing it
I'm
out to
down,
you.
Marvel. Let's talk. I'm sure
Derek
his
said,
lawyers are tied up right now.
you lucky Jonathan Major's lawyers are kind of tied up with some other business right now.
Exactly.
All right, very
Yeah.
important character, Commander Hedaya. He inspires. He's about that life.
Mm-hmm.
Very heroic. True protagonist in the story.
Thank you.
Let's go to the next one.
Ooh,
The
the Queen of
Queen of
Tama.
Tama.
Yeah.
Tell us
She
about
is
this character.
she is lovely. She from the Kingdom of Tama, same place where the seer is from. They're really in tune with the natural elements of things, and they know all the herbs, every natural remedy you've ever heard of. That's the tribe that knows about it.
Now, Tama seems like to be the place to go because
Yeah, it does seem
you
like
got
you want to have fun there.
you got beautiful women,
Yep.
right? You got a seer with these otherworldly powers.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Tama who knows all these herbs that can control people's minds.
Yeah.
You got this mystical element, which I love.
Thank you.
Because it expands it beyond simply being a historical piece, and you're pulling in this mystical realm. It's a little bit more fantasy based, and I think that's what we don't have enough in the culture.
I agree.
So I appreciated the introduction of that aspect, and I really hope you can expound upon that
in
volume 2 and 3.
Absolutely.
But please continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, please, anytime. But yeah, she has some stuff that's happened to her as well that she's processing through. And she's also a lot of people waiting in the wind of an opportunity to make a move that will better themselves, and she's probably the top of that list.
Yeah. Looks like I didn't realize your artist Clovis Batabola. I know I'm probably butchering your name.
Nah, I think you got it. That was perfect.
That is in the chat as well.
All right, Clovis.
He says every police car has a bit of a slave to it.
I'm wondering what the translation of was that. I'll have to look at.
Facts. Next up, Mawu, the Moon Wanderer. This was a fascinating character.
Thank you.
In my studies that I've done on African culture, one of the things they bring up is albinos and how they are often ostracized in many societies. It's interesting that in Western society, the term Negro in Latin means dark and black and what have you. Yeah. But another aspect of it is the idea that Negro is also associated with necro, which means death. So in essence, Black people, Negroes, however, all these terms are terms that from a Western standpoint are things that have sort of pejorative or negative connotations.
Yeah.
When we say it's a black day, and we're Black people. I mean, everything about us has these negative connotations in terms of our labeling.
Yep.
It's kind of the opposite in Africa because the albinos, because of their white skin, were associated with death and demons and things of that in many societies, and hence why that many of them were ostracized. So being white skinned was actually a bad thing.
Yeah.
You're the evil one because you have white skin. You're the other.
Or you're sick.
It's interesting how that gets turned around.
Yeah.
The white devils is kind of literal in many of these societies.
Absolutely.
So tell us about Mawu.
Mawu, I love Mawu. Mawu was also captured by the Zaire Kingdom. He's just a wanderer. He doesn't have much of a collection of his past. It's kind of fragmented for him. But he has this stitching on all his throughout his body that Clovis captured very well. So he's trying to earn his spot. He's trying to let people know he has value here, especially since he's kind of like the outsider. He wants to make sure that he can be kept around in a sense. Hadaya kind of took him under his wing when he first met him, and he
There
feels
seems to be some mystery about his background because he doesn't. He says basically, I don't remember much about my background.
correct. So yeah, he doesn't have much recollection from the beginning of the book. It'll start to come in as events start to unfold for him.
He clearly is more than what meets the eye because he is able to do certain things they can't really
like hold 6 spears at the same time and throw them.
Why are you giving spoilers on your own book?
I'm sorry.
That's like a major climatic event you just dropped. Wow. All right. Let me move on to the next person before you give away the whole plot.
Awesome.
Tell us about this character.
This is Hadaya's little brother.
First of all, this art, Clovis.
Clovis was going off.
Oh my God. Look at this
Clovis
art.
was going crazy.
These look like variant covers and stuff. You know, it's just And this is interior art, everyone.
Yep. Yes.
This is inside the book. These aren't variant covers or anything like that. Specialized stuff. This is the interior art.
We didn't come to play.
Wow. Y'all weren't playing. This weren't here for play. Go ahead. Who's Bosun?
Bosun's Hadaya's little brother. Growing up in Lagos, there was a lot of not a lot, but I would see some kids that had leprosy, so their arms would be muscle dystrophy is what they call it here. So one arm will be, or a leg will be missing. It just won't have as much muscle on it, so they kind of, it's like a disability. And it's something I wanted to explore with his character, that he's always, right behind his perfect older brother, and he's trying to live up to his standard, but he's also has this ailment. So something I really wanted to explore with someone that's determined to find their place in the world, even though when the world's already kind of given up on them. So I really love Bosun as well.
It seems, I don't want to do a spoiler, but one of, as you can clearly see in the art here, one of the scenes of mysticism happens around this character. And I wonder if there are going to be some repercussions of the expansion on that in the future.
There's always repercussions. You don't get nothing free.
I love that. It's very Harry Potter of you to say that. All right.
There's always repercussions.
You know what? This last character, don't take this as an insult. I don't mean for it to be. I mean this comment to be in pure love. Reminds me of a character from one of my favorite comic book companies, Milestone, Buckwild.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with that character, but it was like a parody of 1970s black exploitation.
Oh man, no, I'm not.
Superheroes. It's like almost like a parody of Luke Cage, like an amalgam of various characters. But that's what the Beast reminds me of. He's very over the top in every way. You almost want to love the guy. I mean, he's very congenial. Everyone's afraid of him. This ultimate warrior. If you remember the movie Troy, he reminds you of the big giant that everyone's afraid of.
Yeah.
And people are coming out to attack. And but he's actually like, hey, how y'all doing?
What's going on?
What's going on?
The stories weren't all true.
Tell us about the Beast.
The Beast, Imada. He is the commander of the Nubian army, the big bad commander of the evil Nubian army that everyone's afraid of. They've heard his stories from here to there. He's never fallen. He doesn't sweat. His teeth are perfectly white. Everything. Every little.
Brother got a gangster grill.
Apparently,
it's all sparked out up in here. I don't know what they were using back in ancient Nubia. Some type of advanced baking soda type thing.
That's right.
But yeah. sparkling in the moonlight.
That's right, right there. So that's the
What is your
beast.
boy Clovis putting out here?
That's definitely Portuguese.
Oh,
Pota
is he from Brazil or is he
Cruzeiro.
Portuguese?
Yep, he's from Brazil.
What? Shout out to Tom Raider for the super chat. Derek needs to work on our super chat video for us. Our producer, I've given him some ideas. Hopefully, he'll have some set up for our next video to celebrate super chat. Thank you. It helps us to pay the bills to do what we do here because we're paying for all this out of our own pockets. So thank you, Tom Raider. Anyway, so going on. Next character. So we talked about the symbolism of the moons.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the fact that the beast throws these spears. What does the combination of the spears and the moon represent? Or is it just something?
That's his moment, right? That's the moment. That was the moment where things shifted in the book.
Okay.
That very moment
Okay.
is where things shifted.
Again, I talked about various elements that this book reminds me of, and this part reminded me of the book 300 by Frank Miller
Mm-hmm.
that was made into a film. It also reminds me of the movie Troy I mentioned before. These ancient battles, very epic in scale, very epic in scale. And again, you can see this fantastic artwork. But then we have what's coming next.
Usa is coming next.
Let me tell you, I don't want to give spoilers on the end of this book.
Of course.
But the way Usa is introduced, she's not there for very long. She's only 2 or 3 pages. But her introduction at the end of the book just ramped everything up. I mean, it's very dramatic introduction, and you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen now? And then it's like, yes, to be continued. And I was like, pissed. Because you look at her. She's on this. She's beautiful. She's powerful. She's got this bow and arrow. She's riding on this majestic elephant with tusks covered in gold and a golden armor. I mean, that's fantastical. The people are running from her. She's wrecking shop. Yo, look. Volume 1 was good, but if she's starting off volume 2's got to be crazy.
Oh yeah, definitely. Always, if there's a sequel, it's always gonna be better. That's what I'm very, very happy about. Book 2 is nuts. It's crazy.
I thoroughly enjoyed this book.
Thank you so much.
If I were to have some ideas, some criticisms, it would be put those bios, at the beginning of the book.
Yeah.
To break down, because I had to read the book twice to to understand everything, because it was just so much. In a good way. It's just you covered a lot. You get your money's worth with this book, everybody. Just so you know, because a lot happens in it. And then a map. Put a map like in the back showing where all these places are, just
Correct.
Educationally, and just it helps people to visualize what's going on and
what's going on and where. I like that. I do have a map.
You do have a map. Good.
I do.
Can you give us some ideas as to what we can expect in volume 2 and volume? You said volume 3.
Oh yeah, book 2 and 3 covers the siege into Nubia. Usa comes in, and she's an interesting character. She likes to entertain the gods. She has the more ancient beliefs, and she likes to entertain them. She likes for them to be entertained. So the normal deaths people receive aren't enough. She likes making sure it's a grand death, something that the gods will be proud of. So it's gonna be Yeah, she gets to have a lot of fun with the Zari soldiers in the next book. So it's going to be really
I
good.
think Derek had queued up. Let's talk about this now because you mentioned a production that you've done.
Yes.
Can you tell us about what that is?
Yeah, of course. So with trying to keep the book super authentic, names, places, I know that pronunciation would be something. So I wanted to explore if there was a way to make like a motion comic so
Hmm.
people can visually see it. Also for eventually there's enough, you can make an audiobook with it. So I have a motion comic that's going episodic, and every milestone the YouTube page hits, I drop another episode.
Your boy Clovis is talking to you.
Oh, Scar. He's speaking of another character with the scar over his eye. Um, uh, it's his favorite. He has much more to play in book two. Clovis. That's
Okay.
why I'm saving him for more books. He has a much
Well,
bigger
Clovis, we will save that for book two,
presence.
and I hope that you will join us, Clovis, and
Absolutely.
that both of you will come on and help promote and share what's going on in book two, and we can talk about Scarface.
Of course.
But I think Derek has a clip of your production, the motion
Just
comic.
roll it.
Let's check this out.
Enough! Anyone who brings me the beast's head shall dwell in prosperity. Their descendants will never go hungry. They shall inherit glory, riches, and rank beyond measure.
Brothers, do not do this. Hyrule Afonso, mind your men.
Men? These are not men. These are warriors. At the ready.
Brothers, allow for Kalma resolve. Under a moon. Afonso high, ease your men.
Did you not hear me? Zari at the ready. These are the gods of Zari.
Gods. Man. What separates the two? Oh, is it power? Oh, is it knowledge? Take that away. What do they have left? Whom do you have left? But the truth has always been man fears God, and God fears what man will become.
Yeah, that's dope.
Thank you.
That's dope, man. And that's just a clip. You have an actual full episode also on
Right.
YouTube for free. So I
Correct.
encourage all y'all to check it out. Go to O Kingdom Come on YouTube. They have a YouTube channel, and you can watch the actual full episode of the production. It's just great, great. Do you have more of them you're going to be making?
Oh yeah. As soon as we hit our next milestone, I think we're like 100 subscribers away. Then we're gonna drop episode 2 and 3, and then we'll set another milestone for the next 4 or 5, and keep going like that.
All right. So is it on Kickstarter or how are you doing it?
Oh no, this is just on YouTube. Just people subscribing to the channel. Will unlock another episode. So
Are you doing some type of funding to put out the next one? Or are you gonna or just put it out yourself?
well, I already made like the first 4, so
The first 4 volumes.
the first 4 episodes. So that
Oh,
covered like a chapter each.
okay.
So I already have the first 4 already made.
How many
So
how many how many
it-
chapters are in the book?
10?
10. So you have the first 4 done.
I have the first 4.
That's dope.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought it would be really good for pronunciations. having an idea of the identity of how the character is. When I go to schools for religion, I talk about kingdom country and see if every black
That's
child's
what it's all
eyes light
about,
up.
right there.
Yeah,
That's what it's all about.
yeah,
Showing kids what they came from. That's
absolutely.
incredible. You're doing the Lord's work, my friend.
doing God's work. Yeah, I'm glad it was well received because I like creating things that make an impact. So I'm very glad it's received, especially since all the other books are way better than the first one. So, and you can catch the
Derek
preview on the
showing off
website as
more
well.
of your site here.
Thank you.
Yeah, your website, this is the website, everyone. If you're asking where can you get the book, it's on this site. It's okingdomcome.com.
And that was Africa Comic Con right there.
Where in Africa was it?
This one was out in Lagos. There's two big Comic Cons that happen in Africa. One is in Lagos, the other one's in Ibadan. From the Ibadan Comic Con.
Wow, I can't imagine what it must be like to go to Comic Con in Lagos. I got to do that someday.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was great.
So, thank you very much for joining us. D.
Thank you.
I'm serious. I really hope that you will come back when you're going to drop volume 2. Bring Clovis along, and let's chop it up and talk about what we can expect in volume 2 and volume 3.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I appreciate you having me. I love your breakdowns. I love your want for African mythology to show more. So I really appreciate you taking a look at the book, and I appreciate you for having me on.
It's important, man. I truly believe that. I truly feel that. I really enjoyed this book tremendously, and I encourage all of y'all to go out and get this book. okingdomcome.com is the website. Derek, we've got some more interviews coming up shortly, right? We have Carla Madrano.
Ooh, Luna, very good.
The Black Comic Lord ladies are going to be interviewing Carla Madrano, who is the writer and creator of the character Luna for Concrete Comics. The art in that book is spectacular. Carla is a fairly new creator and even comic fan. So that should be a really, really interesting interview. We also have coming up the Philadelphia Spec Show. If you are not, first of all, if you're not reading Philadelphia, I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
Dion got me onto Philadelphia, so
I'm not certain what's going on with your life, but you make time and read Philadelphia. It is literally, not figuratively, literally the best comic book on the shelves every month.
Amazing.
By Mr. Rodney Barnes. So Derek and Richard and myself are going to do a spec show for all you spec fans out there. What are the best, most important issues of this series to own? What are the special ones that you should have in your collection? And we're going to be talking about that this Sunday at 9 p.m. I think we've got one more interview. Yes. Morgan Hampton, graduate from the Milestone Comics Initiative, is the newest writer for the newest volume of Cyborg that's coming out soon. I believe Cyborg drops on May 16th. So this will be the interview right before it drops. Get some exclusives, BCL exclusives. And that's Friday, May 12th at 9 p.m. Eastern. So we're busy over here in Black Comic Lords. We're grinding to help to entertain all of you. If you want a social appreciation, please make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to drop us a little change in the super chat, we won't say no to that. Every little bit helps, even if it's just $1. We have recurring videos that we do all the time. Wakanda Whiskey and Blurredom routinely on Fridays. Real Talk with Rich on Sundays. And the Black Comic Lord ladies do their videos periodically, monthly, semi-monthly. And of course, we have our interview series, and our roundtable series. They're all on our YouTube channel. We encourage all of you to check it out. Please like the videos, share the videos to everyone else so that we'll get our name out there. And most importantly, please make sure to pre-order your comics. Do it at your own LCS. Do it online. But pre-ordering is your own vote to help support these creators. It's great to go down to the LCS on New Comic Book Day and go buy your book and go take a picture of it and post it on Facebook and say, hey, look what I got. You helped out your LCS, but you did not help out your creator who made that book. You did not put your vote to the publisher to let them know, hey, get more creators like this to make this book and put more books with this character that I like in it. That's what pre-ordering does. Right. So I emphasize it every week, and I will continue to emphasize it every time you see me, how important it is for you to pre-order your comic books. Right. So with that, thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Dee, for showing up and sharing this incredible book with us. Again, okingdomcome.com. Check it out. Buy the book. Support this creator and support the work that his team is doing. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Thank you, guys.